What's going on, Savior Nation? This is the one and only Corey Lendon, aka the CD Savior of YouTube fame. Alright, not so much. Apparently, I suffer from delusions of grandeur every so often. Maybe a little bit of self esteem issues, which I'm currently conquering with the help of paroxetine. Sponsorship! Anyway, I've been making power moves the past couple of weeks with the CD investments. And you know what? 5 CDs ain't gonna cut it for an installment of Chronicles. We're going with 10 this week. 10 albums, no nonsense. No pithy titles, nothing like that. Let's get right into it. Starting off, I've got Miles Davis, Miles Ahead, which is a jazz masterpiece recorded with Gil Evans and his 19-piece orchestra. So include Miles, you get even 20. You're not going to know any tracks off of this unless you are really into jazz like I am, but it was recorded in 1957, and it's got one of my favorite songs on here called My Ship. There's also the title track, Miles Ahead. There's a few actual extra songs in this edition that were not included on the original LP, so it's remastered, sounds like freaking crystal clear. Next up, Winger, self-titled album. If ever they were a guilty pleasure, this album would be it, even though there's only 2 songs I like on here, which would be 17, which everybody knows, and Headed for a Heartbreak. Not much else to say about that one, it's Winger. Next up, Carole King's Tapestry album. I've actually owned this more times on vinyl, which is 2, than I have on CD, which is 1 now, because I've never owned it before. It's got I Feel the Earth Move, So Far Away, You've Got a Friend, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, my favorite shower anthem. TMI. Next is Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Play on words, you can figure it out for yourself if you say it again. It's got Rusty Cage, which was covered by Johnny Cash on his Unearthed collection. Jesus Christ Pose, Searching with My Good Eye Closed. You might have heard New Damage, and that's about it. This isn't their most commercially successful album, unlike Super Unknown. This is actually the album that came right after Fob's Screaming Life, that EP. This is their first major release on A&M Records. Next up, continuing the self-titled trend, is Sublime album. Pretty much the anthem to my summer of 1996. Of course, it's got Garden Grove. Santeria is on here, of course. Also, Wrong Way. Caress Me Down with Gwen Stefani. If you own this album, you sung that probably just as much as any of these songs on here. Next up, another self-titled album, Boston, their debut album. One of my favorites. Only 8 tracks, but, you know, it kicks ass either way. Released on Epic Records, it's got More Than a Feeling, Foreplay, Rock and Roll Band, Smokin', Let Me Take You Home Tonight, and Sib has got a vicious Jew-fro going on, and he's a white dude, and Fran looks like Barry Gibb, but that's for another day. Next up, Coolio, It Takes a Thief. I actually found this album today for $2 at Goodwill. This is the unedited version, the parental advisory, explicit lyrics. Tommy Boy actually released a clean version of this, as well as House of Pain's Fine Malt lyrics, which I have a really hard time finding in the uncensored version. If you ever find that, send it my way. The funny thing about this is everybody heard Fantastic Voyage, saw the video for it, and it's like, oh, another clean pop rapper. As a matter of fact, having listened to this entire album today while driving around, Coolio goes in on this album. It's actually pretty hardcore, and it's got some ridiculous bass to it. The engineering back in '94, it was made to bump. It's good stuff. Another bumping album, flawless album by the greatest duo that drugs have ever created, Outkast, Stankonia. I believe there's 26 tracks on this album. I purchased it 2 days ago for $2 at Goodwill. If you followed me on Facebook, you would have saw it. It's got So Fresh So Clean, Miss Jackson, of course, Moms Over Baghdad, There's a few skits on here, but seriously, I think there's 22 or 23 actual music tracks on here. This is right before Speakerbox came out. Classic album, only $2. Next up is Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble's Greatest Hits. Not much for Greatest Hits collections, but for $2, I couldn't pass this one up. It's got Texas Flood, The House is Rockin', Taxman, Pride and Joy, and his cover of Little Wing. The only other Stevie Ray Vaughan album I'm searching out is Couldn't Stand the Weather, which I think is his second album. And last but certainly not least, Life of Agony. River Runs Red on Roadrunner Records. Say that 5 times fast if you can. This is the last album with their lead singer, Keith Caputo, who is now a pre-op transgender. If you follow the rock news on Blabbermouth, you would know of his goings on. It's actually signed by the majority of the band, minus Keith. This was signed back in '96. $2 purchase at Goodwill. Never thought I'd find that in Cornelius of all places. So, that's it for this week. Let's recap. Miles Davis, Miles Ahead. Wingers, self-titled album. Carole King, Tapestry. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Sublime, self-titled. Boston, self-titled. Coolio, It Takes a Thief. Outcasts, Thank You Very Much from Stankonia. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, GH. Life of Agony, River Runs Red. That's it for this week, what I believe to be the 6th installment of Chronicles of the CD Savior. This is the CD Savior signing off. Be sure to like this post, recommend it to friends, subscribe, send me CDs you might not want just because you like me, and